The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC.
And welcome to Putting the Pieces Back Together, brought to you by Purple Heart Homes. What? I'm gonna pop his other eye.
What? Wow.
Look at this. Look at this lovely shade of purple.
Look at that.
He back-talked me.
That's exactly what happened. Leah had to show me who was boss. Yeah, and if for those of you,
because he was wanting to put his name first on the list there.
For those in Radio Land, what are you talking about?
Devin has a black eye.
Yeah.
What happens when you talk back? Nice, huh?
You know what? I prefer that over the real story. I prefer that over the real story. Yeah. I
Susie Homemaker.
I got into a fight with the washing machine. Yeah, I mean, I would love to tell you that I had some like epic bar fight or
walked into a bar.
Yeah. No. The washing machine lid like stabbed me right in the eyeball, and it happened when my daughter, who's not good with like fast paced situations, was there, and I'm holding my eye, and I just felt wet, and I was like, oh my gosh, I popped my eyeball. I don't have an eyeball. Like it was just like it's gone, and so I was trying to calmly guide her through helping me before I finally got the nerve to go look in the mirror, and it's just like, oh. It's just
really pretty though.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, it's like
orange and purple.
Perfect eyeshadow. I should just do the other eye, and I could just have that like all the time.
Probably like Twisted Sister.
Yeah.
That's an old group.
Didn't the Romans used to do like
or Boy George,
like eyeshadow? Like didn't they? Like
they did eyeliner.
The Centurions, right?
Yeah, the Centurions.
That's yeah. Hey, I think they do that. Do they do that over at Camp Centurion? Let's find out. We've got president of Camp Centurion, Heavner. I can't say names.
Ken Heavner.
And Greg Dimmer is here today with us, who's a board member over there. How y'all doing?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Was that a good segue?
Yeah, we can go with that, but we're not going to encourage makeup at Camp Centurion. Well, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say it's against the rules, but nah.
At our board meetings, we paint each other's fingernails.
Oh,
is that where Andy got his nails painted?
Yes, we're going to go with yes.
Works here for Purple Heart. He's on your board, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Fresh.
I'm sorry, you really were digging deep in the barrel there and pulled that one out. No, he's a good guy. He really is. So, for those who don't know, what the heck is Camp Centurion?
Yeah, Camp Centurion is transitional housing for veterans. It's we're set up for males only, single males, 8 beds in the home. We don't call it a shelter; it's a home. So it's transitional. It's a 12-month program where if you're struggling, it's for homeless and low-income veterans. So if you're struggling, you can come in and do our housing program, build a foundation to get back on your feet, to be able to go back out and live on your own. We actually have one veteran right now that is transitioning out of the house.
Oh, that's amazing. He's completed the 12-month program.
He did 11 months. Yep, 11 months, and he's transitioning out. Right, he's actually moving into his new place today. Starting to move items into his new place today.
No kidding!
How exciting! That is exciting to hear.
He is actually our first veteran to complete the program. So
that is absolutely
seeing it come full circle.
Wow. So let's take a step back, though. We'll talk more about Camp Centurion. I mean, here in just a moment. But what brought you to Camp Centurion there, Ken?
Me personally, I retired from the Army National Guard a few years ago. I kind of lose track of time. And at the time, we were building our house. My wife and my 3 kids. We were living in our 300 square foot camper. And I think I'd been on terminal leave maybe for like 6 weeks. And my wife's like, you need to find something to do with your time. It just kind of, my honey-do list was pretty much done, and we're living on top of each other in this camper in this tight space. And, I'd slung some job applications against the wall and got some offers on some jobs, but they were the type of jobs where you would just burn the candle at both ends. And I'd done that already. I didn't want to do that anymore. And I saw a job posting for basically a residence manager for Camp Centurion in the early stages, and I just, it was a Wednesday night. We were getting ready to try to go to church, trying to get out of the camper. And I just slung it against the wall. And within like 5 minutes, Joel Dalton texts me and he's like, what are you doing? I was like, dude, I'm about to go nuts. I was like, I don't know what to do with my time. I was like, how do you navigate this? And he just made a joke. He's like, I got something you can do. And I was and I was waiting for the punchline, right? Like, ha, 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 what's the joke? And he's like, no, I'm the board president at Camp Centurion. We have a board meeting tomorrow night. Won't you come out? And the next thing you know, there I was.
Nice.
And then I served as the director for about 10 or 11 months. And then when Joel stepped away and I stepped away as the director to take another job with the treatment court, then I became the board president last July.
Well, that's awesome. Well, yeah, you went from director to president, and I guess president emeritus is the only position higher now. You went too fast. Yeah. So what about you? How did you get started in there, Greg? I forgot your name for a second, Greg. I had to look at the sheet. I tried to play it off, but I feel like it's just best to be honest.
To use name tags.
I'm just glad I'm not the one butchering names.
I get forgotten a lot. No, for me, it's funny that it was probably 5 or 6 years ago, the fellow Bud Stroop, who was one of the founding guys that come up with this concept and idea, I was at a home builders meeting in Gaston County, and they had come to talk about Camp Centurion and their idea. And at that time, they were just in the stage of fundraising or just getting people to get involved. And at that time, when he spoke, I just remember saying, that'd be something I sound like I'd really be interested in. Of course, sometimes you think about things that don't really fall through. But the funny thing is, probably about a year later, I got a phone call and I was asked, hey, we need a contractor. We've got a building and it's been just kind of sitting there not doing anything, and we're at a standstill. We need somebody to help us out. And I said, yeah. It just fell into place. It was great. So from that point on, worked with Bud for about 2 years remodeling Camp Centurion. We completely gutted it, started over from scratch, and 2 years later, and at the end, we met Purple Heart Homes, who came in, kind of helped finish at the end because we were struggling for money. Purple Heart Homes came in, kind of helped out with Joel, and the rest is history. And here we are, a couple years later. So
that's amazing. I appreciate you giving Purple Heart Homes a shout out there.
Y'all did a lot at the end. You really did.
Well, we always try to support like-minded causes, and for any of you out there listening who also want to support veterans, where can they do that, Leah?
You can go to phhusa.org. Did I say that right? No, it's not. I just give my email address.
Yeah, no, phhusa.org.
Right?
That's your email address is essentially your name with that at the end.
Got put on the spot there for a minute. Think about that.
You can go out there to find out a little bit more about our organization, or how you can assist veterans either through donations or physically doing that by volunteering. You can volunteer right there on the website. So
Become a Hearts of Honor?
Yeah, become a Hearts of Honor member. Yeah, you sign up. That's like a monthly subscription program. Only actually get something for your subscription. You get to help a veteran.
That's right.
That's right. Lots of veterans. And and we're going to talk a little bit more about helping veterans when we come back from this break with Camp Centurion. You've been listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together.
Welcome back to Putting the Pieces Back Together. If it wasn't for Joe giving me the thumbs up, I wouldn't know when to come in. Thanks, Joe. You act like I haven't done this before.
I was wondering.
I know you'd stare at me. You're like, You gonna get in, Leah?
And oh yeah.
And welcome back.
And welcome back. Yeah.
And we are with our guests from Camp Centurion, Ken Heavner and Greg
Dimmer.
See if you remembered.
Well, it was his first name. I forgot a moment ago. I was like, it starts with a
Gary.
Yeah.
Just remember, I'm in every home. Dimmer switch.
Oh, wow! Ain't that clever?
Yep.
Yeah. It's good for a contractor right there.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like a.
Never mind. It's like, what's that guy's name? It was like, Dimmer Switch. Yeah. Well, that's a good thing to have. Good nickname.
It is a good thing to have. Yeah.
Unlike being a Marine. But anyway.
Wow. Oh, you just going to fill out an awkward silence? Someone else is
I should have said Semper Fi.
Oh,
Greg, what branch of the service were you in, sir?
The one and only Marines.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Just
you couldn't have told me that before we started?
It was in the show notes. It was in the bios that I sent you on these two guys. It was on their website.
Oh, Greg, you served in the Marine Corps. What made you decide to enlist?
Hold on. Red or green crayons? Red or green?
They said I get to play with crayons. So,
yeah.
There was
definitely a question on the list. You could ask him that question.
So what made you enlist there?
Well, there's a great story to that.
Yes, please tell us.
So I actually had a good friend growing up that we lived in the same neighborhood. His name was Andy Kalinowski. And we had this great idea. He come to me and said, he was going to go in the Army, and he wanted to join us together, go to the same boot camp. It was called the Buddy System.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, didn't have no clue what I wanted to do in life. And so he goes to the recruiter in Charlotte. I go to the recruiter in Gastonia on Franklin Boulevard. And the first, you walk in the front door, well, the first office is the Marine Corps office. So that's where I turn to, having no clue where I'm doing or where I'm at. And within, I think, about an hour and a half, I was signed up in the Marine Corps.
Oh, my God.
He ended up in the Army and ended up being an airborne ranger, or not ranger, but just airborne. And I ended up in the Marine Corps. So, that's how it happened.
Holy smokes.
And we'd come home, visit each other when we were on leave, and, we laugh about it, joke about it. But that's probably the best thing that ever happened to me, going in the Marines.
That's awesome. How'd that buddy, did y'all get to go to boot camp together?
No, he's he went in the Army. I went in the Marine Corps. That's what I'm saying. No. That's what I'm saying. It was an Army thing. He went to recruiter in Charlotte, ended up in the Army, and I ended up in the Marine Corps.
He knew what he was doing.
Right.
Yeah. Well, yes, apparently.
Was harder than the other.
Some Marines are. It takes a little bit to figure things out. Yeah.
You just started off not following directions good.
There you go.
He just had me with the dress blues and the few, the proud,
Oh, yeah. You thought, this has got to be what my buddy wanted to sign up for.
Got me with the women. They love you in the dress blues.
They do. That's one of the. I don't think anyone ever denies that that the Marine Corps dress blues are like the greatest uniform. Well, I was talking about this the other day with our friend Joey Waters.
Yep.
Joey, I don't know if y'all know him, but he was in Army National Guard, and we talked about the Army didn't keep the traditional uniforms. Mm-hmm. They had some nice uniforms throughout history. If they would have stuck with some of those, man, they could rival the Marine Corps. But they just they threw them away.
Yeah, we do our own thing.
Yeah. Well, it didn't work out for you.
We don't like to be like everyone.
I wish I could still fit into my dress blues. It'd be great, but that didn't happen.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I can.
Yeah, well, screw you, man.
You can fit in his dress blues? That's an interesting story.
I can fit in mine and his.
You were, what do they call that, green to gold?
Yes.
Yeah. And that's an Army term there, I think.
We do, green to gold.
It is. It was probably one of the best and worst decisions of my life.
Best and worst. Do tell, kid.
Yeah, after being enlisted for 10 plus years and then going to OCS and getting screamed at by somebody you actually outrank at the time was like,
oh yeah,
and then you just kind of just pass it by, stand on my head, eat peanut butter, whatever, So that point of it, worst, but the best part of it now, hindsight 2020, just kind of looking back, it was one of the best decisions ever made, because now being retired,
but the check's a lot nicer.
It's a lot different.
It's a lot better than enlisted
check. It's a lot different.
I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny, like when you're being enlisted and being an officer, they mean very different things. Like you can't talk to each other the same way, and then you get out and it does not matter at all. But you might not have that experience.
I was going to say,
I didn't live that way.
no.
That's right. Y'all were National Guardsmen,
I didn't
Wasn't
live
even
that way.
that.
Like it didn't change who I was.
No, I wouldn't say no.
I think maybe it was because I was not in as like a staff NCO. I was just junior enlisted, and then eventually a corporal, and that I didn't get the experience of the officers ever talking nicely to me.
Well, I think too is like in the National Guard, when you're AGR, you're a smaller group.
Yes.
And so there might be only just a few people working in the buildings. And so with it being like that, because the only time you get together is on drill weekends. That's when your troops come in. And so during the week, it's just, just maybe 5 to 10 people, if that, sometimes just 3 at an armory. So you kind of build a different connection and kind of shoot the breeze.
That does make a lot of sense. Yeah,
there's not a lot of barriers and walls in between.
Now, drill weekend was a little different. You had to change hats and attitude, but yeah. So you just kind of get
I've seen you change attitude before.
Yeah, look at your eye.
I was about to say that.
Yeah, I wish you wouldn't say that because I was going to say it.
She beat you to the punch.
They got me to the punch.
No pun intended. With you guys having so much time in the service, what made you decide to go into the veteran advocacy?
It's like, really it's a life of service. You never, like, you get out, but you're not out, Yeah. And to me, it's always going to be a life of service. And we're put on this earth to serve God and to serve other people.
Absolutely.
So that's never going to stop. Like, and I go back to the comment I made where I became an officer is one of the best decisions of my life. You can look at it financially. It's opened a lot of doors for me to be able to help other people. And that's really it. Like it will never stop for me. I'll tell you, I live in Lincoln County. We have a veterans council in that county. I'm on that council. You're always doing something for somebody who needs help and who deserves help, right? So it'll never, no matter what's going on in my life, it'll never stop. It's a life of service.
I think that like the hardest part was when I got out. When you serve, like, you have a sense of purpose, and then you get out, and like I always say, like Uncle Sam just kind of shut the door and was like, go forth and prosper. And you're like, now what do I do? Because I always say that when you get out, you lose your left and right limits. Like you don't know what you can and can't do. And so like coming here helped because I was able to, get back and have a purpose and still be with like-minded people.
And it's human interaction,
yes,
right? Because that's the biggest part that you miss after you get out. It's human interaction. It's funny. I saw a meme a while back, and it's like a guy who got his DD 214. He's getting out. And he's like, "That's it. I just get in my car and I go home." Yeah. That's it.
Bye.
You just get in your, like, it wasn't funny. It was true.
Yeah.
It's
true.
Get in your car and
you
leave.
count down the days of like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. The travel or, the meetings and everything.
Yeah, I started counting down to like 1,200 days.
I did.
Straight up.
Mine was like 3 years.
I was so burnt out.
Yeah.
And I was so ready to go. And I kept getting the, hey, stay one more year, stay 6 months. I'm like, no. I was just done.
Yeah. And then you get out and you're like,
man, I miss it, but I don't miss it.
Right. But I think that's what, like, you nailed it when you said it's the human interaction that I know that now that I miss. Because I know I couldn't be a bank teller or work in some kind of little too brass.
and even that, like, the human, like if you work inside of a veterans organization, right, you're around other veterans. Like our board, all of our board members are veterans, minus one gentleman, and you're around other veterans, and you have that interaction, and you speak that same language. Yeah. Whereas if you just go out, and that's what I was kind of teeter-tottering on when I was like, am I going to go work this other job and burn a candle at both ends, and like I'm like, it's going to be like a square peg going into a round hole when you try to go into the civilian world. And I was like, I really don't want much to do with that.
Yeah.
I
agree.
totally get that. Yeah.
I agree. And do you find that your veterans that are coming into your program, are they having that same kind of transition or same kind of?
Most of the guys that we see, we have some younger guys that came off active duty, done their 4 years, and like they still don't know what they want to be when they grow up, right? So there's like a huge age gap. You have those younger guys, but then you have those older guys that are like 50 plus who have lived life just fell down on hard times, right? And that's what's in the situation. Whereas the younger guys did their 4 years of active duty, didn't make a plan, still don't know what they want to do when they grow up, and they're just like, what do I do?
Right.
Yeah. So there's just such a big gap.
Join the military to figure out, or it's like that was the only option, or I didn't know what else to do. And I think sometimes too, even though you serve 4 years, it still doesn't give you a clear pathway.
No, you're still shocked when you leave that structured environment.
Absolutely, you are.
And it's just like, and that's when people struggle. They struggle with substance abuse problems after that. They struggle with trying to, find employment or gainful employment and being able to actually build their life after coming off of active duty. We've got several young men that we've helped.
Yeah.
You talk about coming off of active duty after only 4 years. Well, that 4 years, most of those folks are joining right after high school. This is their first job was
first time away from home.
First time away from being home, and like everything is structured for you, and you're just this is your job. You show up here at this time, you do this thing, and your money's going to go here. This is where you live. This is where you eat, and then you get that DD 214, like you said. Here you go. That's it.
Yep.
That's it. And you don't know what else to do with your life. It's because it's all been structured for. Oh man,
you're talking.
I'm talking. Hey, we're gonna go into the break. You've been listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together, man.
And welcome back to Putting the Pieces Back Together, brought to you by Purple Heart Homes. We are with Camp Centurion, Ken Heavner and Greg Dimmer. Nimbered. Light switch.
Like the dimmer switch.
Unlike someone that kind of ran us into break that didn't dim his talking.
It's
like you were on a little roll there.
Yeah, I was. Hey, but I got to stop right at 0.
You did get stopped. It's like, wow. Joe didn't even have time to do the exit, break music or anything.
Music, yeah. We'll put it in post. It'll be fine.
There you go. It'll be fine. Yeah, okay. But before the break, we were talking about veterans transition in the program that you have. What exactly does your program entail, and how does that help the veteran with the 12-month program?
Yeah, so we say 12 months, but it could be shorter, it could be longer. Basically, they come into the home. They have a roof over their head. They have food, to eat. This just all the basic necessities are provided to them. We help with transportation. We partner with other people. We've gotten a gentleman a vehicle. So we've done that. We help with employment. We also everybody that comes into our program gets a comprehensive mental health and substance abuse assessment within 14 days of coming in. Because it's not just because you're addicted to a substance doesn't mean that we won't house you. It just means that we have to have a plan, right? Mm-hmm. And you have to embrace that plan. So we have 2 treatment providers, integrated care of Greater Hickory, and another treatment provider, Ledbetter Services out of Gastonia. They do it pro bono, the assessment and the treatment. So we do that. We bring them in, we let them settle for really the first 60 days. We don't really press employment, especially if they have a substance abuse problem. At some point in time, we'll talk employment with them because just because you come in, you got to make a plan to go out. We have an escrow program where they pay so much after being there 60 days to build up their own funds, right? So that they'll be able to, at the end of 12 months, just like this gentleman that we're helping move today, they have a deposit, right? And they have, first month's rent and everything they really need to be able to live on their own. Through the whole process, it's employment, it's transportation, it's basic needs. It's really just that foundation, right? So that if they don't have any overhead or if they don't have any bills, there's no really excuse why in 12 months. And we start transition plan too at 60 days.
That's awesome.
So we start, that way it's a 10-month transition plan. We start that at 60 days. Again, we let them settle the first 60 days. let them start their treatment, let them kind of, I'm home, right? You know, and that's part of our mission is we help veterans finally come home.
Right. Help them get that
Structure
stability.
Because a lot of times these guys need structure in their life to get back on their feet because they're just kind of lost out there. One thing I want to, what we were talking about, that question of transition out of the military, is a lot of people, and we find that here, is they don't have the support of their family.
Right.
So like for me, when I got out, I had family to go to and I had a job waiting for me. So a lot of these guys don't have that, and you know, they end up struggling. They don't have family, end up out on the streets or drugs. And I think that's something that we see a lot in this, and that people aren't aware of a lot, is, you know, there's some of these veterans coming out don't have help.
Yeah, some of them were in the system. Yeah. And actually aged out of like the foster care system, right? And then like joined the military, and that was their family. And then they come back, they don't have anybody.
Wow. That's something I've never even thought about. I can't imagine what it'd be like to come from the foster care system, go into the service, and then just be spit back out into the world. That really truly is like stepping out of an institution.
Yeah, like 17 of the veterans that we've helped the last 2 years, 2 of them, that's the case scenario that we've seen.
Really?
They aged out of the foster system, joined the service, did their time, and came back and just had nobody. Literally had nobody.
Wow.
And how many veterans do you said you house 8?
Yeah, we have 8 beds. Really, the sweet spot is about 6 at a time, because we have 2 employees, 1 full-time, 1 part-time. We don't leave we don't have anybody in the house all the time. We're working towards that, to have somebody there all the time. But really 6 is about the sweet spot. The most we've ever had was 2 Novembers ago. We had 6 in the house at one time for about a month period. And so right now we're at 4. We got 1 moving out. So that's where we're at now.
Wow.
It's constantly changing up and down. It moves. People cycle in and out.
I guess it's just like any program, and you hope to have them cycling out, because that means hopefully that you did what you needed to do for them, and that
the biggest thing with that is, like, some of these veterans, they come and they don't embrace the help, right? I always, one of the things I always say is, I'm not going to work harder than you, right? At your sobriety, and 2, at you getting back on your feet. Like as an organization, we will match your effort, right? We match your effort, but like, you have to put in efforts, because you got to be very careful. With recovery and with, transitional housing, you have to be very careful that you're not enabling, because you'll get to that end of 12 months. And if they haven't made the right changes while they were in your program, they're going to be right back where they were.
That makes a lot of sense. I know something as simple as quitting smoking. If you do it for somebody else, you'll never quit smoking, because you'll always go back to it. You have to quit for yourself. And I'm sure with harder addictions and harder life struggles, you really do have to do it for yourself. But giving them the platform, the place to do that, and the assistance they need, that's really an amazing thing.
Yeah, and many of these guys come in and they may be getting, like, we've had some get Social Security disability, and many of them come in, they get VA disability, right? So we're able to structure that and help them. Like, we help, like, the number one thing is part of the transition plan is, like, at 68, like, let's look at your budget, right? Let's look at your income. Let's see where your money's going. Like, some of these guys, I got 4 storage lockers that I'm spending half a mortgage payment or rent payment on every month, because I want to keep my stuff, right? So downsize those, right? Find it cheaper. So we've done that, like, downsize, find cheaper storage lockers. You got to slim down, because they don't want to let go of their stuff, and we understand that, but some things can be let go of, and there's always a better deal out there to find. Oh, yeah. Storage locker.
1 big storage locker is cheaper than 4 small ones. Yeah. It's simple things like that I'm sure you can help them with.
Another thing too, like just mentoring. We have one of the things that we started a few months back and talked about was having a board member or anybody that would talk to these guys and mentor them, like have a one-on-one that they can meet with once a week or something, or if they have any issues and want to talk about it, to help these guys, just show them somebody cares, listen to them, things like that. And another thing was, we have an escrow account for these guys. Like during the time there, they pay in money to an escrow account. So when they get to that 12 months, if they go through the process, they have money that we can help them, find a place for rent or whatever, needs to be done to help them.
And again, we match that effort.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like with their escrow account and those things, we match that effort. And I'll share the gentleman that we're moving out. Like he might see this, he might not, but he's going to find out anyways. He covered his first month's rent and his deposit out of his escrow. And then he had covered an additional 1 month's rent. And then he don't know yet, but his rent's paid through June.
Oh wow!
My gosh.
But he's on a very limited fixed income because of what he gets, and he's not able to work because he's on SSDI, right? So he doesn't know that yet. It's one of the things, he might listen to this online or whatnot, but it's one of those things when we get him moved in and settled, we're going to be like, hey, by the way.
That's beautiful. Well, it's going to be at least a week before this show's out.
That's even better.
We're going to wait.
Surprise!
Yeah, surprise! Hey, that's amazing.
We helped him get a car. It's being worked on still. But like I said, we've done everything as an organization to be able to set the conditions for him to be successful in his own home. And not end back up where he was before. He was sleeping on a friend's basement floor when he came to us.
And the community, through stuff like this, other community reach outs like the Love Our Veterans.
Yep, they
donate
up
and help. And
Love Our Veterans is a great.
Yeah,
they actually paid 1 month's rent for the veteran.
Yeah, I cannot say enough good things about them.
I was there this morning.
Were you really?
Yeah.
I sure was.
Man,
awesome.
yeah, they really are awesome. Hey, we're going to have to go to a break. But
Remembered.
I did remember. And, for all those folks out there who want to find out why Ken and Greg are wearing matching shoes, they should come back after the break. You've been listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together.
And welcome back to Putting Pieces Back Together, brought to you by Purple Heart Homes. I just got to make sure I say Purple Heart Homes because we work for.
That's right. They're the ones that sponsor this wonderful show.
That we get to have fun on, right, Joe?
Absolutely. Fun. Lots of fun. And more importantly, they have a mission to make sure that every veteran has a safe place to call home.
Yes.
And they do that through our many programs, the VAIP, Veterans Aging in Place program, and the
Veteran Home Opportunity Program, VHOP.
Right, yeah, where you're over there helping them build tiny homes
Tiny
every
homes,
day.
yes.
Yeah.
It's a great job.
Absolutely. And we even did a big house out in a full-size home.
Was it in Denver?
Iron Station.
What's that?
Iron Station.
Iron Station, North Carolina. You can't get there from here. It's one of those places. And Greg, you were the contractor on that, right?
I was.
It's a gorgeous house.
Yeah, you did an amazing job. But we really appreciate you partnering with PHH to do that.
It was an honor and a privilege with that.
And you mentioned Love Our Vets. They were a partner on that as well.
I think they were the reason that Purple Heart Homes kind of came onto the project.
They absolutely
reached out
were.
to y'all.
Yeah.
Did.
So what did that project mean to you?
Oh, gosh. Again, that was one I think Joel hit me up on. And again, just finishing up with Camp Centurion not too long before that, it was when he called me and said, hey, you want to be a part of this? I was like, absolutely. And yeah, it was an honor to be a part of it.
When we say Joel, we mean Joel Dalton.
Joel Dalton.
One of our donations officers here.
Yes.
Is that his title? I'm not good with titles. Or names. Or faces or really anything. How did I get on here?
You won a coloring book contest.
Yeah, it's true. They give Marine a job program. They pulled my name out of a hat.
Yep.
I'd spelled it mostly right. They said, here you go.
You have a voice for radio.
And a face for one, too.
Oh, yep. Jury's still out on that one. But anyway.
Wow.
With the Habitat for Humanity, I used to do a lot of homes for them. So that kind of was the practice for this, kind of knowing what was going to be involved going into it.
Because they completely demolished his house and built it from the ground back up,
my
right?
son, who owns a grading company, actually was the one that did the demo on that.
That's right, yeah. That was pretty cool to watch. That
it was
as they tore that house down. And it was kind of an emotional moment. where Donald Surratt's out there, and he lived in that house most of his life, didn't he?
I believe it was his grandfather that had built that, like in the early 1900s.
Yeah,
and so he had been in his family all the time. So it was originally he said, no, I don't want to do that. He didn't want to bulldoze it and start over. But we just, through time and talking to him, just can't do nothing with the house.
It was just.
But you were able to at least keep it on the same
It's
land.
almost an exact spot.
Yeah, so there's still that connection there.
Yeah, and so he's connected to the same land that his family lived on, but in a brand new home, built quite well by Demmer Construction right there, and
we call it Dimmer Built.
Dimmer Built. Oh man, that sounds that's awesome. And if I remember right, the thing that he was most you give. Sometimes when you help folks out, they just ask for more and more and more. And he just humbly asked, "Is there going to be a light on the front and the back porch? Could you think maybe I could have a doorbell?" That's all the things he asked for.
That's
for
one of the things that was an
construction.
honor is because he's such a humble person.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
And he appreciates it. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, and you went from that, and we certainly appreciate that, and all the work you did on Camp Centurion. I heard that you were there late nights with your brother or something.
Brother was very involved in it. Yep. And the biggest thing was, again, is just we do a little bit of work, fundraise money, a little bit of work, fundraise. So at the end, when Purple Heart Homes come in, it's like, oh my God, it's like the coffers opened up and we were able to get it done, and it was instrumental.
It's a phenomenal house. We went, was it last spring or fall when you guys had the
Work day.
day? I brought my stepdaughter with me and got to see the inside of it. And it's actually really nice the way it's set up and how you turned a home and made like dorm
That
rooms.
For me, like when I go to a board meeting or if I'm just over there, to be able to go in there and you remember what it was, and you go in there and you see the furniture around and you see the guys in there, and it's just, that's what makes it fulfilling for me, and want to be part of it and continue.
Spoken well like a future board president.
Are you trying to vacate that spot?
I'm on the 5-year program.
Never heard of that.
You didn't. You accelerated too quickly. Well, you were director and
set
then
the
president
standard,
and then
yeah.
gone. Is that no?
I believe I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Seeing your work go into Camp Centurion and the house, what is it that you guys need, or what can those listening be able to do to help contribute to these?
I really encourage people to just look at like our Facebook page, see when we're having, we have a work day coming up on March 22nd of this month. I think it's a Saturday. And then we have an open house coming up in April. I think it's on April 22nd. But we always need just regular household items, and you can go to our website too, and you can scroll down and see the PayPal link to be an individual donor. But I always encourage people to come out and look, right?
Yes, absolutely.
But I don't sit out here and beat the bush for money or and do those kind of things, because when you come to the property and you see the men that are living there that we're helping, and you see the home and you see all the work that's being done, then you just, I encourage that first, and then you make your own decision about where you fit and where you can help, whether it be just buying supplies for the house. We've always got supply lists on our Facebook page, where we use the Facebook page to like for example, moving this veteran, to find help to move a veteran. We use the Facebook page to find help to work at the work days and to come to open house. So everything's really on Facebook, but you can go to www.campcenturion.org and you can learn more about us. You can look at us on Facebook, and you can get our phone number off the website. We're always looking for volunteers. Sweat equity is sweat equity is what we need a lot of times. Just some volunteers, some people to come by and help, because the guys that are living there, they're in treatment, or they're part of the veterans court, so they have court requirements, or some of them from work, and you know, yeah, they clean up after themselves and do those kind of things, but like just having for the full, because I know I sat in that seat, just having someone to come by like a volunteer and be like, hey, can I run an errand for you, right? Just little things like that go so far when you're running the day-to-day of the organization and managing different personalities all under one roof, which can become really challenging at times. So I just encourage people to, and we're going to be doing open houses and work days almost every month. So if you're not able to make it in March or April, get out there in May, June, or July, where we always look for like church groups or organizations, like mission groups to come out and support work days. We still need one of those for March 22nd. But just come out and look at the home and then ask, hey, how can I help? Because it's I can sit here and try to explain to you how great a job Greg did on the remodel and how great a job that we're doing to help these men. But until you see it with your own eyes, I can't articulate it. I can't put it into words. You just got to see it to believe it. You got to see it to believe it. Absolutely.
Two things I'd say too is like just. So if you just get on the website, sometimes you don't see things, but if sign up on our email so that when we're sending out things that we're doing, you're on that email list. There may be something you don't want to do this time, but maybe next time there is something you see that you can be.
Yeah.
So that, and the other thing I'd say is, well, I kind of forgot what I was going to say about that.
You sound like me, Greg.
Yeah. So
I think that's a Marine thing.
Nice.
Oh, God. Wow.
No,
Feed him a crayon, he'll remember.
I should have wrote it down in crayon. No, the other thing is too is like something we've been doing here, and we talked about at board meetings, is finding people to go out so that we can do this right here. Go out and talk to, like we went to a Rotary meeting in Mount Holly, and when we had our open house the last couple of weeks, we had 2 people from there come, and they signed up and did things, or donating, or coming back and helping, volunteering. But we need more of that. We need to be able to find places we can go, whether it be a church or a community group, and tell, like we're doing here, just what we're about, so that somebody in that group might tell somebody, or they come and, you know, just continue that networking. Absolutely. One person, one word of mouth all the time.
That's true. And you never know when you're going to meet that person that goes, I got exactly what you need.
We see it all the time. I mean, God works in good ways. So.
Absolutely. And it's certainly doing that with y'all, because I mean, these kind of operations couldn't run without people that are dedicated, just like you. I mean, this house, I know it was a dream to turn this from. It was just sitting there, kind of vacant, and
it was condemned.
Yeah, it's been sitting empty a while.
Bad.
And somebody had a dream, and to turn that into something useful for veterans, and y'all really ran with it, and just you're changing men's lives
one at a time.
Yeah.
One life at a time.
Yeah, that's, hey, I can't imagine something better than that. I'm just at a loss for words.
I know. Yeah. I want to talk about them shoes real quick.
No.
They're wearing American flag shoes.
Yeah.
What brand are those even? I've never.
They're like RDC.
Wait a minute, I'll tell you.
Oh.
Are those the RDC?
Dude, man,
no, it's not in there.
We have some RDC.
They do that on TV. They just
it's RDC.
Joel gave me mine. I don't know. And, I think he stole his. Did you earn those?
Mine came from here, from somewhere. It is Dale Punch, Vietnam veteran. He picked them up for me.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, hey guys, thank y'all for being on here. Thank you for talking about Camp Centurion today. If you've missed any part of this broadcast, you can find us on YouTube, Purple Heart Homes YouTube page, or go to the Facebook page. And hey, we've got bonus content. Hey, you've been listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together. We'll see you next week.
See ya.